Introducing LookingVibrant.com Glucose Balance X100, your sugar control friend. Clinical strength breakthrough custom formula. This is a brand new category of biomedical technology with more than 34 premium and patented ingredients such as fulvic acid, chromium, bitter melon, ALA, Amla Fruit, plant-based B vitamins, organic D, vitamin K2, vitamin E, zinc, magnesium, and much more. Combining Nobel Prize-winning wisdom of science in a bottle. Here are some of these amazing ingredients' benefits. Number 1. Cinnamon extract. Cincillin is a unique patented extract of cinnamon. Yield ratio is 10:1, so 2 cincillin capsules with 250 milligrams in each contain the concentrated benefits of 10 typical 500 milligram plain table cinnamon capsules. Thus, we've added 400 milligrams of cincillin in each daily dose. Number 2. L-arabinose. The isolated 5-carbon sugar has been shown to suppress the increase of blood glucose and plasma. In vitro studies on CACO2 cells indicate that L-arabinose is a potent inhibitor on sucrose activity. Number 3. Fulvic acid, able to easily pass through cellular membranes, allowing nutrients to be properly absorbed. Number 4. Chromium, working with insulin to help transport glucose into cells. Number 5. ALA, shown in multiple studies proven to have a role in preventing B-cell destruction and enhancing insulin sensitivity. Number 6. Amla Fruit powder. New York Times bestseller Dr. Michael Greger says, Amla Fruit powder worked even better than the leading diabetes drugs. Not only this, but the average cholesterol in the US is over 200, which is where the diabetics started out in this study. And when you give them placebo pills, nothing much happens either. But give people just about a half teaspoon of amla powder a day, and this is what happens. That's like a 35 to 45% drop in 3 weeks. Absolutely astounding. That's the kind of thing we see like 6 months after putting people on statin drugs. Number 7. We've also added 2500 IU organic vitamin D and K2, full spectrum MK7. A shortage of vitamin D also hinders blood sugar levels, making it more difficult to control diabetes. Number 8. N-acetylcysteine, or NAC. In fact, doctors regularly give intravenous NAC to people with acetaminophen overdose to prevent or reduce kidney and liver damage. Plus, we've added plant-based B vitamin complex and much more. According to the CDC, approximately 84 million American adults are pre-diabetic, yet 90% don't know they have it. Pre-diabetes puts you at an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Even the FDA confirms that diabetes medicines such as canagliflozin, Invokana, Invokamet, Invokamet XR, increase the risk of leg and foot amputations and lower limb amputations. However, amputations involving the leg below and above the knee have also occurred. The FDA said, we are requiring new warnings, including our most prominent boxed warning, to be added to the canagliflozin drug labels. Well, apparently these dangerous side effects are not dangerous enough for the FDA to ask manufacturers to stop selling such medicine or warn physicians to stop prescribing them. And by adding more warnings on the labels, apparently that should be sufficient for consumers' protection. But remember, most people trust their physicians and don't read the warning written on the medicine's labels anyway. Dr. Abraham Hoffer, MD, says in the United States alone, more than 110,000 people die each year from the use of drugs prescribed properly in hospitals. All our minerals are chelated from Albion Mineral with chemically validated FTIR fingerprint. We've also added potassium and zinc because renowned researcher Dr. Russell Jaffe says when acid builds up in the cell, the proton gradient goes away and the mitochondrion shuts down. But when you have enough minerals such as zinc and potassium inside cells, you have a healthy proton gradient and good things can happen. Also, altering your daily diet can help you get the most benefits from this formula. Here's Dr. Sarah Hallberg, Medical Director at the Medically Supervised Weight Loss Program at IU Health Arnott.
Everything you eat is either a carbohydrate, a protein, or a fat. And they all have a very different effect on glucose and therefore insulin levels, as you can see on the graph. So when we eat carbohydrates, our insulin and glucose are going to spike up fast. And with proteins, it looks a lot better. But take a look at what happens when we eat fat. Essentially nothing, a flat line. And this is going to wind up being very important. So now I want to translate that graph for you into a real-world situation. Even worse is that nowhere in the ADA guidelines is the goal of reversing type 2 diabetes. This needs to be changed because type 2 diabetes can be reversed in many, if not most situations, especially if we start early. Not only do we need to let people know this, but we have to start giving them the practical advice so they can do this. Consider carbs. First, here's a shocker for you. We don't need them. Seriously. Our minimum daily requirement for carbohydrates is 0. We have essential amino acids, those are proteins, essential fatty acids, but nope, no essential carb. Because a study looking at our National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey data, better known as NHANES, showed that the single biggest risk factor for coronary artery disease is insulin resistance. It is responsible for a whopping 42% of heart attacks. Low-carb intervention works so fast that we can literally pull people off of hundreds of units of insulin in days to weeks. There are dozens of randomized controlled trials looking at low-carb intervention for things like diabetes, cardiovascular risk factors, obesity. They're consistent. It works. There are even a large number of studies showing that low-carb nutrition decreases inflammatory markers, which is making it really exciting for diseases like cancer. We just finished a study in our clinic, and what we did is we took 50 type 2 diabetic patients that were treated with our low-carb, high-fat-based program, and we compared them to 50 patients who were treated with the ADA guidelines. And after 6 months, not only did we find a significant metabolic advantage for the low-carb group, but, and let's face it, this is important, a huge cost savings. Our analysis showed that our patients could save over $2,000 a year just on the diabetes meds they were no longer taking. Just think how fast that adds up in our diabetes epidemic now that we are spending $250 billion a year on in this country.
Some researchers are suggesting that by the year 2045, it will cost the US 100% of GDP to pay for the total healthcare expenditure in the US. And if this is true, this should be the biggest national security threat in the history of the United States. Imagine what would happen if 84 million Americans who are pre-diabetics today turned into type 2 or type 1 diabetics in the next 5 to 10 years. Why not allow natural formulas such as Glucose Balance X100 to help diabetics manage pre-diabetes better and help control type 2 diabetics from becoming type 1 with lower cost than medication, no dangerous side effects, and without jeopardizing our national security? All our supplements are third-party tested, not irradiated or fumigated with ethylene gas, non-GMO, zero fillers, under-natured, vegetarian capsules, free from alcohol, EDTA, expedients, gluten and soy-free. Made in the US and only in CGMP FDA-approved facilities. Science plus research and passion equals looking vibrant. This product has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate any disease. Read the full disclaimer.